Welcome back to another episode of Shitcoin trading to $100,000. If you're new to the series, I'm basically trying to turn $100 into $100,000 till the start of this summer. And if you missed the previous episodes, I did manage to trade from $100 to about $3,000 if I remember correctly, but at that point I actually stopped doing shitcoin trading because I was getting wrecked so much. There were so many rug pulls and I was investing in all the wrong projects and basically getting wrecked every single day. And this sort of ratio of projects that I was winning versus the projects that I was losing, well, I was losing a lot more than I was winning, and that's when I figured that I need to take a pause. And I took my profits, which was about $3,000, and I invested it in some solid projects like MRI, Stilton, Lava Financial, and some other projects. And currently my $3,000 have turned to close to $10,000. So you could say that I have turned like $100 into $10,000 in a little bit over 3 months. But anyways guys, in this video I want to show you how I find projects that I invest in, how I plan my entries, how I take my profits, to basically not get wrecked every single trade. Because with shitcoins, the volatility is out of the roof and it's so easy to lose your investment if you don't set some rules for yourself and, more importantly, follow these rules. So the first rule is that if project is volatile, that is that price is moving up and down a lot, I close my trade within an hour of opening it. And that is because if you leave your trade open for longer, the possibility that the price of the project will drop drastically below your entry price is very high. Rule number 2, if project I invest in pumps drastically, I take profits immediately. I don't wait for the project to pump higher, because chances are that people will sell at the first high and the project might not recover after the first drastic sell-off. So as soon as I see that my trade has 2x or 5x, I take profits and look for another project. And rule number 3, I always wait for a dip before I invest in a project, or I invest in projects at launch. This sort of rules out the possibility that I will buy a top, only for me to see my investment plummet. So let's go over how I actually find projects to invest in, because that's really important piece of the puzzle. And guys, there are like 100 different methods that you could use to find projects to invest in, but today we'll be using CoinMarketCap. So this is CoinMarketCap.com, a website that keeps track of thousands of different crypto projects. And it's actually a goldmine if you're looking for projects to invest in for a small flip. And one of my favorite categories to check for good projects to invest in is biggest gainers. And one thing that you really need to pay attention here is volume. And it's really important that you select a project with pretty high volume, like 2 million in the last 24 hours, because if you go for a project that doesn't have that volume, you might enter the trade only for the project to fizzle out, and there will be no one else left to buy. So you will not necessarily lose money, but the project will most likely trade sideways or won't trade at all, and it will be stuck at that price. So it's important that you check projects with high volume. As you can see right here, Sky Frontier has $2 million volume for 24-hour period, which is pretty high. Let's see what the chart looks like for this particular project. Okay, this is a perfectly good example of a chart for a project that I would probably try to invest in. If we waited for a dip for this particular project, for example like a dip that was right here, and we entered there, we could easily make like 10 to 20% on our trade. But actually I went ahead and found another project earlier which was in the top gainer section, and the project is called Elon Buys Twitter, quite fitting with the current world events. So let's check the chart for 15-minute period. So I found the project when the price was right about here, before the first big pump and this dump right here. So before I actually decided to invest $15 in this project, I decided to wait and see if a big dump would happen, because as it is with projects that are newly listed on CoinMarketCap, they pump massively, and people who got in early in these projects are waiting for these huge pumps to actually sell their tokens that they got for extremely cheap prices, and basically people are taking profits. So I kind of knew that another dump would happen, like this one that happened right here at the start, and it did like half an hour later after me watching this chart, and it actually dropped quite drastically, and that's when I decided that I would actually jump in this project with $15, which is a small gamble for the sake of the video, and actually honestly, I wouldn't invest more than $40 in these extremely risky projects for the sole reason that in most cases the liquidity is low, and even if you invest like $200 and they suddenly turn into $6,000, you wouldn't actually be able to cash out in this case because liquidity is so low. So if there's low liquidity, my bets are always low, like $15 to $20. So I invested $15 right about here with my slippage set to 15%. And as you can see, it traded sideways for quite a bit, kind of similar like it did before this first pump. And as you can see, this is my pancake swap right here, and my $15 have turned into nice $20, which might not seem like much, but remember that's 25% increase on my initial investment, which is not that bad. So you might also find yourself in a similar place where you invest in a project only for it to trade sideways. Now you need to decide whether you want to leave your money in the project or whether you should take this small little profit. So let's see what I would do in this instance. Let's open up the deck screener on the big screen, and what I like to do is check what the volume is. As you can see by this chart below, the biggest volume was like 3 hours ago, but still the volume is pretty huge. For last hour the volume is $40,000, which means that the project is alive, people are still trading it, and another breakout might happen. So what I'm going to do next is keep a close eye on the charts, wait for a pump, and as soon as it pumps, I will sell my stake and maybe I will make like $20 profit for this trade. And no, I'm not necessarily turning like $10 into $1,000 like I did in my previous video where it was purely luck based, but what I'm doing here is actually taking these little calculated gambles where I turn like $15 into $40, take profit, then turn another $20 and maybe $30, take profit. And like if you do 10 trades like this per day, you can easily make like $100 to $150 pretty easily. You just have to actually go and do it with small enough money that if you lose, that's not too big of a deal. Maybe go in with $5 for each trade, see how this actually works, keep a close eye on charts and notice patterns for yourself and kind of get the hang of it before you increase your bets to higher amounts of money. Remember, I have like $10,000 in my portfolio, but I'm still only trading with $20 to $40 to not get wrecked. Because if you do this enough, eventually you will stumble upon the project where you invest like $40 and it suddenly turns into like $800. If you don't believe that this can actually happen, watch my previous videos on this series. It happened to me like 3 or 4 times where I did manage to invest like $80 and turn into $1,600 and some other crazy trades. And these trades can only happen if you put yourself out there, invest, and if you are willing to lose some money, because inevitably you will get rug pulled. You don't need to be afraid of it, just cut your losses and move to the next project. Okay guys, my baby just woke up and I think this is where I'm going to end the video. If you want to see how profitable this trade will turn out, please consider subscribing to the channel. I will update you guys on this particular trade in the next video in the series. Also, if you haven't watched the previous videos, go ahead and do that as well. I have like 3 or 4 shitcoin flipping videos that I did earlier this year. Thanks again for watching. Bye.